My dreams are nightmares. How can I sleep? You got the gun against me.
What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the All Elite Wrestling Unrivaled collection, Kenny Omega. And so here we have Kenny Omega posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually take a look at his accessories. Kenny Omega does come with 2 pairs of hands. We do get a pair of grip hands for Kenny. We also do get his finger pointing hands. He also comes with his entrance jacket, which looks really nice. I do like the detailing on it. And then finally we do get his entrance gauntlet. Other than that, Kenny Omega doesn't come with anything else, which is a shame because I think he should have come with a pair of fists, but that's just me personally. Really do like this set of accessories we do get with Kenny Omega. So with that out of the way, guys, let's take a closer look at Kenny Omega. And so here we have a closer look at Kenny Omega. Now, just like with Cody Rhodes, I think Wicked Cool Toys has done a fairly good job of capturing the likeness of Kenny Omega, because it really does look like Kenny Omega. I know he does a lot of facial gestures, but in neutral, this actually does look very much like Kenny Omega, which is a really good thing. I especially like the detailing here on his beard, and it is partially sculpted. It's not just painted, so I always love when companies actually take the little details and sculpt the beards. It does bring out a lot of detail when there's actual paint on it. Now, I have one gripe with this figure. Mainly, well, I have one gripe with a particular thing that they did wrong with this figure. That being Kenny's hair. As you can see, they left Kenny's hair completely dark. Where are the highlights? Kenny Omega has blonde highlights in his hair, and this figure is completely devoid of highlights. Now, I have heard that Wicked Cool Toys is going to do a second run of the Series 1 with updated body paint and updated hair, so Kenny would get his highlights, but that's a huge detail to miss on such an important character to AEW, and I do apologize for the train. I don't know why it's so loud tonight, but anyway, yeah, the highlights in his hair, it's not something you can just overlook because that is how Kenny has his hair, so really unfortunate that that train is blasting its horn and that Kenny Omega doesn't have his highlights. That's just something to note about this figure. Now, another thing that this figure does suffer from, as you can see, and it's a little more prevalent on Kenny Omega than it was on Cody Rhodes, 2 tones. We have 2 completely different skin tones for his body and for his arms. It's like the chest and shoulders match, but then he has completely different color biceps and forearms, and then his hands are also a different shade. I don't know why they did that. I know Wicked Cool Toys has gone on record saying it's because of the virus going on, but other companies don't have this issue, so it has to do something with the way they made the plastic, so that is a little bit unfortunate that we do have 2 tones for Kenny Omega's arms there and 2 tones for his body. Now, as far as the body goes, I really do like it. It is just muscular enough for Kenny Omega, so I do like that. I think it's a little too vascular, but just like with Cody Rhodes, it is very, very pale, and my camera does a poor job of capturing that. If it's blinding you guys, I do apologize. If I turn the exposure down anymore, everything's going to look too dark. So, yeah, that's one thing that I think Jazzware needs to work on is skin tones, because this is very, very pale and very, very bright. So hopefully they do end up fixing things like that. Having a look at his wrestling tights, you can see they did a really good job of adding on these details for Kenny Omega. I really love the smoke billowing. That's probably one of my favorite things on this ring gear. On the side we do have K Omega, which that does look nice. I love the way it fades into from the white to the black. That's just really, really nice. I don't even think Mattel does that with some of their figures, so I do like the fact that Wicked Cool Toys has done that. On the back we do have the Omega symbol right there. So really, really like his tights. I think a little more purple highlights would have been just a little better, but as it stands, really, really love the tights. We do have another Omega symbol here, and again that smoke billowing all the way up. Really love this attire. I do think Kenny needs to wear this attire more. I know he wore it the week that these figures were released, but again, I just think this is a much better attire than what he wears regularly on Dynamite. So really do love the pink highlights and the purple and the white. It all blends together, and he does have his unique kick pads, which I really appreciate, that small little detail, and he even has the straps. The only detail it's missing is the strap on the kick pad going around the boot, but other than that, it's perfect. I really do like the way this figure came out. So Wicked Cool Toys, Jazzware, whatever you want to call them, has done a really good job here with Kenny Omega, with the exception of the two-tone plastics. That's something that they really do need to work on. How pale and lifeless his skin tone is, and the missing highlights. Some of those are forgivable, but the highlights I cannot forgive, because that is Kenny Omega. Oh, unfortunately, they didn't miss that out. The ringside exclusive Kenny does have the highlights. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually compare him to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Kenny Omega posed next to an Ultimate Edition's Brock Lesnar and an Elite CM Punk. So with the comparisons out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to Kenny Omega's Articulation. Now, I really do like the Articulation on the Unrivaled collection. It is a really good setup. A little tweaks here and there could make these perfect figures, so let's actually run through it really fast. He does have a ball joint in the head, which does let him look up slightly. Unfortunately, because of the way his hair sculpt does come down, it does limit upwards movement. He can look down a little bit. He does have a hinge in the neck, which again, because of his hair, really does limit upwards mobility. But looking down, he has no problem. We do have a very minuscule head tilt, I would say, next to 0. Head swivel, looks left and right, no problem. Arms are on ball joints. They do go all the way out, better than horizontal. They go all the way around. They have a bicep swivel. We have double bend here at the elbow. A little bit stiff on mine, but got it to bend, so really do like that. I especially love the clicking joints that these make. That means they're not going to wear out as fast as just your regular disc joints, so I really do appreciate that. We do have a hinge here at the wrist, again using that little ratcheting system that they have, so it actually does work. And we have rotation. We do have a ball joint here at the torso, so he does lean to the side, does lean to the other side, goes back about that far, goes forward about that far, as well as rotates. He has another ball joint down here at the lower torso, so he can bend that far back. He can bend that far forward, which is pretty exceptional. Can tilt to the side, can lean to the other side. We do have rotation, but because he's not a circle right here at the waist, you can see he doesn't spin all the way around, so you do have to manipulate his joints a little bit just to get him to rotate how you need him to. I really do like the ball joints here on the hips. They go all the way out, which works really nice. They don't really go back that far because of the way it is sculpted right here on their backside. Now, one thing I do feel is they can improve on the hip, because as you can see, the hip only moves that far forward on its own. Now, you can get better range by having the leg kick out to the side and then rotating it forward, but that's still kicking the leg out to the side, and if you want to adjust it, you can see it's really, really apparent. So I think that's one thing Wicked Cool Toys can improve on. Thigh swivel works no problem. Double bend at the knee. Despite having a knee pad, that's as far as it's going to go even without the knee pad. So a little better than 90 degrees, but nothing too spectacular. We do have boot swivel, a hinge in the ankle which does go back. And unfortunately, because of the way his kick pad is sculpted, we don't get any forward mobility on Kenny Omega, which is unfortunate. But we do have forward-facing pin for rocker ankle. Now, unfortunately on mine, both of them are relatively loose, so it does make standing my Kenny Omega a little bit of a challenge. It might just be mine. Yours might not have that issue. So that's Kenny Omega for you guys. So what we're going to do now is get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Unrivaled collection, Kenny Omega posed for my final thoughts, and overall I think Wicked Cool Toys has done a really good job with Kenny Omega here. There are some things that Wicked Cool Toys can improve on. For one thing, I'm not a fan of these rubber jackets. I understand why they do it. It's cheaper than making cloth goods, but for figures like this, I think cloth would really add a little extra. I don't mind paying an extra $25 or an extra $5 for a $20 figure if it means all of them do get really nice accessories and soft goods. I think that's something I would really invest money into. But for a $20 figure, you really can't complain, seeing as how he does come with a few accessories. I know it's not a lot of accessories, but he does have a lot of articulation, and its articulation we really don't see too much in action figures, so I really have to give it to Wicked Cool Toys for giving us an affordable action figure with this much articulation. Now, Kenny Omega here does suffer from a couple of missing paint apps, especially with his hair, and the body on this figure is a mixed match of plastics, which that's something that they really have to work on if they want this line to succeed. It's not something you can just overlook and say, oh, that's not going to bother me, because over time, I already have it in my head that this figure is going to change colors, especially with natural lighting. I feel like some of the plastic is going to deteriorate, not really deteriorate, but just change colors, and you're going to see it more obviously. And again, that's something I want Wicked Cool Toys to work on, is the plastic that they used for this figure. Now, if you guys are looking for the AEW Unrivaled collection, unfortunately they are available only at Walmart and select online retails like Ringside Collectibles. Now, they are pretty much sold out on Ringside Collectibles, but I have heard that Wicked Cool Toys is going to redo Series 1 with updated paint apps, especially on the body, and give Kenny Omega his highlights in the hair. Hopefully they end up doing that, and I might pick up that Kenny Omega figure just to have a more accurate Kenny in my collection. But that's not saying that this isn't a good figure. If you want Kenny Omega in your collection, this is a really nice figure, and I do recommend him if you're an AEW fan or just a fan of wrestling in general. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other AEW videos and all my other wrestling videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.